Close your eyes and just notice what is happening inside you. Something is happening inside you, and you notice that as a third person, as someone else. We can notice someone talking. You can notice something happening outside. You can notice a bird flying. Now let us notice what is happening inside us. Maybe your body is saying something, that somewhere there is some stress in the way you are sitting. Listen to your body and adjust your posture, which you can always do during the session, changing your posture to a more comfortable one without opening your eyes. So just notice, observe what is happening inside. We have senses, you can use them. Maybe notice your thoughts. What time is it now? Maybe some thought is going on. What is happening now? What may I experience in this session? What had happened today? When will my work finish? Thoughts of the past, thoughts of the day, thoughts of the future, thoughts of the now. It could be anything. You just observe. Imagine you have a thought about what am I going to experience today in meditation. The moment you notice it, do not interact with it. Means, maybe I will experience this. Maybe I will experience that. Maybe. So, do not interact. This is entertaining the thought. So, don't interact. You just observe what is happening today in my meditation. That's it. You just observe. Today, the work did not go well, or it went very well. There is a thought. You just observe it. Like you see a cloud in the sky and you just see it. You don't say, what is the size of the cloud? Would that rain? Nothing. You just notice it. no conversation. We are habituated to have conversations with our thoughts, and it might happen even with our closed eyes that we fall into a cycle of thoughts. However, the moment you become aware that you are having a cycle of thoughts, just retract from entertaining the thought further. Say to yourself, well, that's fine, that till now I was with my thought, and this thought, if it is important in your life, tell to yourself you will get back to it later, you will address it later. That is when magic happens. When you are not interested in your thought and you just observe and you do not interact, you just observe it, you just notice it, it will simply disappear. Just like a tap that is switched on, that brings water and it just flows out. You're not feeling it, you're not catching it, it is just flowing. The same way, the thought, when you just observe, just goes, just fades off, just disappears. And in this moment, when there is no thought, we are in emptiness. And the most evident thing, the most natural thing that exists there in that emptiness is our own breath. So just become aware, just feel this breath going in and coming out. It's such a tranquil process. Just notice that natural breath. There is no effort again there. You're not interacting with your breath. It is normally, naturally happening. You just feel, you just notice, you just Observe your own breath. Maybe you observe as it enters and it goes into your body, or maybe you just observe in your nose going in and coming out. It does not matter. Whatever you can, just observe, just flow with it. The moment we came into this physical body, we came in through our breath. And the moment we stop our breath, we leave this physical body. So, breath is the essence, is the source of our life. So, being with the breath means being with the life, means being with the source. This breath is coming from outside with no boundaries. From this open nature, open to the skies, open to the universe. There is no limits to this breath that we inhale from outside. There is tremendous information. There is tremendous power that is why it is able to sustain life. Breath, prana, life energy. When we are with the breath, automatically our mind is empty of thoughts. We are in a state of connectedness with every breath. We consciously breathe in and out. We are connected to the whole universe with this breath. So just be with your breath, the normal, natural breath. Just notice Just observe your breath. Everything. We just observe a thought, a disturbance, my voice, music, the breath, a vision, anything that happens, we just become aware of it. We just notice the normal, natural breath. Last 2 minutes, friends. Slowly bring back your awareness to your surroundings and to your physical body. As we end the meditation, let us all be grateful. Grateful to everything, everyone, and every experience. Everything that is coming to your thoughts now, be grateful. Be grateful to your breath. Be grateful to yourself for choosing to be here today together with the group. Last 30 seconds. Slowly bring back your awareness. Last 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Slowly place your hands over your eyes for a few seconds. Whenever you are ready, you may open your eyes and take off your hands. Welcome back, friends. Thanks to each and every one of you for joining today's session and being part of this group energies. Hope you all had a wonderful journey. Now we are open for experiences sharing. Anybody willing to share your experience, kindly unmute yourself and go ahead. Yes,
Hi,
Kavita.
Ram. This is Kavita.
Hi, Kavita.
Thank you so much. It's been a while. I didn't join any of your meditations due to my hectic schedules, but today I made time, even though I'm outside, to sit in the car and do this. It's 60 minutes flew by like 6 minutes. I'm so thankful. Yeah, it was a deep meditation. I didn't realize 60 minutes passed by so fast. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful, Kavita ji. Happy to hear and see your dedication, finding time and doing the session when you're outside sitting in a car says it all. So
Thank you so
that
much.
inspires us. And
Thank you. Thank you so much.
and
I
and,
was
and
missing your meditations. So, yeah, I had to make up for that. Thank you.
thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. Anyone else, friends?
Hello, Ram.
Hi, Sahir.
Hello. Yeah,
Hi.
missed your deep drive into a deep state voice. Missed you so much, first of all, and I enjoyed the meditation. I can't express how it was beautiful. What else could we need? A voice that leads easily and smoothly to a very deep state. Then this music journey was beautiful. Thank you for choosing those tracks, especially Estas. And
Beauty.
I felt tingling in the crown chakra.
Hmm.
Yes, Ram, am I audible? Yeah.
Yeah. You're
Okay.
audible, Sahir.
And I felt something expanding outside.
Sahir. Okay, we lost Sahir. He will be back. Meanwhile, anybody would like to share your experience or you have any questions, please go ahead. Yes, Balaji.
Ram, yeah, this is Bala from Dallas area, Texas. Yeah, it was very good with your deep voice. For a while, I went into, like a deep sleep, and then came back um, in between the middle of the meditation. But like Sahir mentioned, I still have this tingling sensation in my head, in the crown
Mhm.
chakra area. But it was very good. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Balaji. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your experience. Yes, Sahir, you were sharing something.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
yes,
ahead.
Ram. Okay. Is the voice clear now? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I felt like the crown chakra was tingling all over the meditation, and something was, or I felt me was expanding outside me, or
Mm.
larger than my body. I mean, and this feeling was beautifully there all over the meditation throughout the whole session, which was something beautiful to watch. This feeling, I was there. I wasn't away like every time, and totally present, watching this feeling, which was amazing, amazing. So thank you so much, Ram, for creating the state. Thank you.
Beautiful, Sahir. Wonderful to hear. Wonderful to hear. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Minaji.
Hello everyone. Hello Ram. Hello.
Yes, Minaji. Yeah.
Yeah, from morning, I was very calm today because I did a meditation with the Laden group, which Madhu has sent. And from morning and today meditation, when you initiated also, I went into deep meditation, maybe because I did that, but it was very deep. It hasn't been like that before. This is the first time I went so deep, and I couldn't hear your voice or the music you are playing.
Mm.
And all the time from morning, whatever meditations I did today, I'm seeing the purple color, the
Mm-hmm.
purple light color around me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it I can't explain. It's like a purple, lightish dark purple color I'm seeing. Every time I
Mm-hmm.
sit in meditation today from morning, it's the same happening, and now also it happened the same,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like very blissful. Uh, and I'm feeling so happy from inside and out after the meditations today.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very nice. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Nice to hear that, Minaji. Anyone else, friends?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Uday.
Hello, Ramgaru. Good evening and hi, good evening all. So it was a very wonderful meditation. So the words which you added at the beginning took me to a deep trance state. So while as meditating, so some thoughts came. So again, I followed your suggestions and I went to a deep trance state. So I observed myself as a small kid, like aged 4 to 5 years. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting around in a garden. So and I'm meditating without any thoughts. So I'm observing animals over there. I'm asking all the animals to sit with me and meditate along with me. So I was talking with trees and everything. So it was very blissful experience I experienced. So I felt so close to the nature.
Wonderful. Very nice, Udayji. Good to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Sharuji. Thanks for being here and sharing your energies.
Thank you, Ramsa. Thank you. Actually, um, I was just in the middle of reading the oracle. That's why I was not speaking much right now. So, because I was supposed to be in Ma'am Ladan's group right now, but then the angels they directed me here.
Mm.
They just wanted me to be here in this session of yours, and they wanted me to read the oracle. So I was just doing it, and as usual, wonderful experience I had because the music was beautiful, and
Mm.
I could connect. As always, I was reading the cards, I was connecting with them, and it was definitely a beautiful experience. So
Great.
thank you so much for giving such beautiful opportunities for everyone, to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharuji. Any message from the oracle cards for us to hear?
Yes, if you want me to, what is the question that you want to ask for? If there's any specific question, because I was just communicating with them through the cards. So if you want to ask any specific questions, you can.
Yes. I would like to leave this opportunity to our friends here. Anyone, friends, would like to ask something? Please go ahead.
When will this COVID end?
Okay. Okay. So you have to be a little patient with me and just whatever you have asked for, just try to not put a speck of doubt in that, and just try to receive everything with the open hand and open heart. Then only the answer, the oracle is going to answer. Otherwise, it will not. So, what is your name?
Bala,
What is Bala?
Bala.
What is your complete name?
Oh, Bala Triprasundari Upadrashta. You
Okay,
can say Bala Upadrashta.
Bala Upadrashta, right?
Yeah.
Just give me a moment. Okay, so another 2 months are very crucial, and in these 2 months, COVID is going to rise in some places and it's going to go down in some places. But another 2 months, it's going to be there. In probably in the month of December, it's going to go down a little bit. But till December, there are indications that they are going to be there. At least for 2 more months, it's going to be there full-fledged. And in the third month, that is on December, it is going to go a little down. So after that, in December, when I see and communicate with the oracle again, and then I'll get to know whether it's going to rise up or it's going to go down. But in December, there's an indication that it's going to go down a little. Thank you,
Thanks a
Balaji.
lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Balaji. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Can I ask a question, Ram?
Yes, I think yes. Sharuji, is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. You can ask a question, but it should be asked with a lot of reverence and trust. That's it. This is the only
Okay.
thing that angels always ask for.
Okay. So Sharuji, I'm Kavita. Thank you so much for taking this question. So I understand there's a purpose why we meet everyone, like whoever we meet. I know there's a purpose. I understand. Some people come into your life to teach you. Some use you. Some to teach you some experiences. Every experience, like every meeting, has a purpose behind it. I kind of understand it, but at the same time, sometimes we know very clearly that some people are using you and still using you. Though I understand the concept, it's hard for me to absorb it or to accept it. How do I get over with that experience? Is my question, if it makes sense.
No, okay, I understand what you're going through. I understand whatever you are thinking right now. But what is exactly the question? What is the specific question that you want me to ask them?
How do I forgive? Or it should be an easy process for me to come across. What do I have? So how do I say this? So maybe it should be an easy transition when you know that you're coming across people um, that are using you or who are like selfish. Even though you know it's for their selfish needs, it should be an easy um, transition, or I should say easy way for me to forgive them and still accept those people. So I still want to be good to them at the same time. I don't know how I should frame it, but I just want to understand the easy way to accept those kinds of people.
Okay, so the thing is, Kavita ji, um, there are certain laws, and I know you have complete knowledge on about these spiritual laws, in which it is always said that the external is the mirror of your internal. So I used to have the same feeling, trust me, and Ram sir also knows. I have also shared my experience that, you know, I used to have the same feeling towards the people, that people are using me, people are selfish, people are judgmental, people judge me, people do this and people do that. But actually, whenever we do that, there is something inside of us that needs to be corrected, because to some extent we are also the ones who are judging ourselves, who are trying to use the other people, maybe, or not use, but maybe we are not giving proper respect to our own self, or our self-worth, or self-esteem, or self-respect. So whenever these people come as teachers to us, who teach us lessons, so they always are telling us to go deep within our own selves and they are indicating us and telling us that there is something wrong within us which we need to rectify. So, Kavita ji, with due respect to everything that you are experiencing in your life, through my experience, I can tell you, if you are going to change your perspective towards the people, if you are going to give more importance to your own self-respect and self-worth, then only your vibrations are going to change. And when the vibrations will change, people are going to change. This I have experienced in my life. Trust me, and I swear this happens. These are no empty words. These are not the words that I have taken from any book. I think Ram sir will make you understand in a more better way. Ram sir, please add, share your wisdom on this also, since you have also experienced a lot. So please.
Um, it is what you said really resonates with me too, Sharu.
Yes.
So we all choose our own experiences, and whenever we choose our own experiences, we choose because we would like to grow. And sometimes this growth to our mind, we do not perceive it because we see growth in different understandings. However, at the soul level, it is experiencing completely in a different perspective. So, whenever we experience something that we do not perceive good or we do not like, that is where we need to introspect and to understand why is it that something is hurting me. And every difficult situation, from my own understanding, is a faster way where our soul is progressing. It is just like the seed. When the seed is sown into the soil or it goes under the soil, it undergoes a phase of darkness. It undergoes a phase of tremendous pressure above it. Only when it undergoes that, life sprouts out. So, everything that we do not like, everything that we feel is so much of pressure in our life, everything that we do not like in experiences that we experience in our life is just like that seed that it is experiencing this darkness. So out of it life comes, out of it a wisdom sprouts, out of that a spiritual growth happens. So at the moment we may not see it. When we look back after we pass these experiences, we say, my goodness, thank you. I'm very grateful that I had this experience. So we perceive it or we do not perceive it. This is how the soul experiences it. So gracefully accept them. There may be many probabilities, possibilities behind why we have chosen these experiences, why certain people are there in our lives giving hard times. There could be many, many, many reasons behind them. However, all those experiences are only good, are only doing good at our soul level.
Thank you so much, Ram and Carl. Thank you so much.
Thank
That's
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharu. Thank you, Kavita.
Actually, I want to mention one thing. Last month, in my early morning sleep, I woke up suddenly with a message saying that, oh, you are the reflection of the outside universe. And then the next day, again, another message came, early in the morning and says that, the whole universe is within you. So I didn't understand what's all this. But yeah, if you think, it makes sense because your mind reflects to the outside universe. But Ram, thanks a lot, that that example, because in my life, I had the way I came into this meditation, because of my severe back pain. Um, and then after 40 days, I started having a lot of experiences physically, and emotionally, and that changed. And I developed more and more interest, and also a perspective of looking into things and people differently.
Yeah. Experiences carve us. Yeah, it's like they sculpt us. So they
Yeah,
make us more beautiful, and we have to be grateful for every experience for that reason.
yeah. I thanked my back pain a few times, saying that, oh, because of this, I started this meditation.
Yes, yes. I don't know if
Because
you were there yesterday in the storytelling, when Meenakshi was feeling bad
yes, and Sita ji
about the
was
curse, and
yes,
then the other person just mentions that be grateful. Had not
yeah.
that been, that
Yeah,
curse
she
been
didn't
there.
have the chance to serve Sita ji,
Exactly.
Mata Sita. Yeah,
You
that's right.
see.
Yeah, yeah, I agree completely.
So all these stories, including the story you have shared, including everyone's life, is just a reflection of that. So we can call it curse, we can call it tough times, we can call it people giving us tough experiences. Everything is just, how do we say, is a boon, really a boon. So when time comes, we all say that I'm very grateful for that. So it is better that even we do not understand that, it is easier to start feeling that. When we experience or when we be grateful, even without understanding the reason behind why I need to be grateful for that experience, we are opening doors for that wisdom to seep in, to understand and change our perspectives, and to see why are we experiencing these realities, because we create our own realities. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So, Meena ji, yesterday you had a question about food, and we had quick talk, and then
Yeah.
um, Master Uma, so who is my mother-in-law also, so she shared some wisdom on that. That was so beautiful. So, Atta, if you are there, would you like to share that?
Thank you, Ram. Hi, Ramesh.
Hi, Atta.
Okay. Veena, yesterday I was listening to your conversation with Ram, and so I thought I too face the same problem. Many of my relatives used to ask me, "So, what is there wrong in eating non-veg? Because even plants too have life, and you're taking the vegetables, even that too have life plants. And what is there wrong in eating this non-veg?" So I was unable to answer them in the right way. And recently I met with one very good master, and he explained me in a very nice manner. So he said me, as we all know, there are several kingdoms like mineral kingdom and plant, animal, and humans. So our origin starts from the mineral kingdom, and the mineral kingdom is there to share and expand. So this mineral kingdom, we use it in several ways, and they are being shared. And when these minerals come to the higher levels, they evolve as the plant kingdom. So even in these plants are first. There are many plants which are not used by either by humans or by animals, but there are several plants which are used in many ways, like leaves, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and even the roots, bark, and many more things are being used by humans and as well as even animals too. So when these animals these plants or these plants will be waiting for us to consume them. They feel very happy, it seems, as it is proven scientifically too, and they will be waiting. And we shouldn't forget, if we grow plants in our backyard, and we have to take the permission of the plant before plucking it. So, but we get all the vegetables from the market, and okay, we should be thankful for whatever it is. And later on, when these plants are being consumed by us, then they evolve as animals. So these okay, these plants are there to serving purpose. They teach us to serve. They are there to serve, and after serving the us, they evolve as animals. And these animals first they are we see they evolve these animals, and they first we see they in wild forest and like that, wild animals. And some animals are being tamed by us, and these animals are there to spread love, teach us love. And because love is the very nice thing, because even the wild animal, uh, when we show some affection to them, when we are compassionate towards animals, even the wild animal too, or the deadliest snakes also, they are become very tamed, and they are very near to us. They become, the wild animals too become like pet animals for us. So these animals are there to teach us love. And thereby, when these animals are being tamed and everything, these animals evolve as human beings. In one way, these animals are helping us to evolve, we human beings to divine beings. But in contrary, we are forgetting all these things, and we are thinking, okay, it's nice. What is there in killing these animals? And we are consuming them. Many of them, we are consuming them. Thereby, we are going to down levels. We are degrading ourselves. We are not able to go to higher levels. But for sure, we are not going to animal kingdom or back to these kingdoms. But we take many, many more lives to become. When we come to know the compassion, how to feel compassion, and then we are going to evolve as divine beings. So these all are the things. So before that, I used to, whenever, even of course my husband too, when they used to ask me, oh, what is their, it is their business, they are killing, and we are getting it from our house, and we are not doing the slaughtering and all these things they used to say. But then I didn't get the correct answer to explain them. So one thing I used to tell them, because it's slaughtering means, when one animal is being slaughtered, and the other friends of that animal will be there, and they will be shivering, it seems. They will be shivering up, because they will be they has the fear, okay, next is ours turn, and this man is going to slaughter me again. So with all these toxins, it faces all this fear and treachery done by this man and everything. So we take that, we consume that, and the toxins which it has released at the time of that slaughter, and the same thing is within us, because we are eating that flesh, and that is within us. And we too today, if we see many of us, we don't believe anyone. Every time fear, and fear, and what to say, we are not able to we are not able to believe anyone. So that is happening all these days. So I think so animals are there to help us, not for mean for killing them. So in one way they are helping us, not they are helping themselves, and they are helping us to evolve as a human beings, and to learn compassion. They are helping us to be compassionate. Thereby we grow ourselves. I think, Meena, this is what I thought yesterday while you were talking. And I don't know whether to some extent I'm able to explain you. I think you understood or not. To some extent, I think this is situation.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm able to
So
understand, but I need to put it in to explain to people properly. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
record this and I will send.
this is what I thought, Meena. This is what I thought because previously, whenever I tell any one of our male relatives says, "Oh, what is there when plants do have a life? But then why you
Yeah,
people are killing them? Why
yeah,
you people are plucking them?" They used to tell me like that, and I didn't get that good answer to explain in a very nice way. And
yeah, yeah.
recently, I met with one master, and he told me, "Okay, this is very nice." Now I started telling anyone who I
Wonderful.
came
Yeah.
across. Yeah. So this is
Because
what
people
is
fight
happening.
back when I say that we shouldn't eat and it involves
Uh,
emotions and all. They come keeping with 100 answers, and they
yeah,
fight
yeah.
back saying, "Oh, you are eating plants. Plants cry too. You
Uh,
shouldn't cut vegetables and all."
yes, yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you very much,
They tell
Auntie.
me like that because they are there to help us. They are the plants are there to serve us. They are,
Yeah,
and the master also told me they did experiment with two apple trees, it seems, and the two apple trees with full of apples. So one tree which is being used by people, it is very happy, it seems, and the other tree which is not being used by us by plucking the apples, it day by day they can see that it is withering like the plant is withering like. So then they came to know, okay, these plants, they are mainly, their main purpose is to serve not only humans but also the animals.
yeah,
So this is the thing, and even the animals are there to help us to, for ourselves to evolve into divine beings.
yeah.
So
Thank you very
that
much.
is thank you, Meena.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Uh,
Ramesh.
Thank you,
uh,
Atta.
Ram sir, can
Thank
I
you.
add one thing in this?
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Uma ma'am. Thank you so much for giving a wonderful explanation to this. I
Okay.
just wanted to add one more thing, like Meena, you were saying that how to explain to people. So the thing is, scientifically, it has been proven that as far as the plants are concerned, they cannot emote. They do not have emotions or feelings as compared to the animals. Animals have feelings because it's an evolutionary process that we go through. Just as Uma ma'am said, that it is the mineral kingdom, after that, the plant, the animal, and then the human kingdom. As far as the mineral kingdom is concerned, they do not have anything. There are no emotions, nothing, no thought process, nothing is there. There's no
Yeah, because
feeling.
they do not have nervous system. Yeah,
Exactly. Same,
yeah.
same with the plants. They do not have nervous system at all. But yes, they can grow, but they do not have any feeling or emotions. But animals have feelings. They have emotions. They feel. Okay. So similarly, animals cannot think, but humans can think. So it's an evolutionary process that we go through. So when we talk about plants, they cannot emote. They do not have feelings, and that is why when we eat plants, it is not something that we are harming their emotions or feelings, but when we do that with the animals, we are actually hurting them. They can feel the way we feel. They can they can feel that fear, because animals have the tendency to see the fear energy from very far. So when somebody is trying to come to slaughter them, they will definitely have this fearful energy, which gets into their cells, which gets into their each and every cells of their body. And after that, when we ingest that particular animal, the same kind of fear energy also penetrates into us. And then you might have also seen that people who eat a lot of non-veg, they also get very angry. They cannot think properly. They get very, very, very angry as compared to the person who does not ingest all these things. So as far as the science is concerned, it is being proven. So I just wanted to add, because you said that you have to give explanations to
Yeah,
people
yeah.
whosoever
Thank you,
is
Sharu.
asking.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Sharu. And
Yeah,
also,
thank
one
you.
more point I heard from Patriji. Uh, if we want to evolve spiritually, we should practice eating vegetarianism.
Yeah, yes, Minaji. That's beautiful explanation, Sharu. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a wonderful Saturday evening sharings, I should say. So thanks everyone for actively being here. Yes, Atta, you want to add something? I see you unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay. So
friends, let us move to the next part. We have Madhu, who will be taking over now and connecting us to Mata Sita. So let us hear the story.
Hello, friends.
Hello,
Wonderful.
Madhu ma'am.
Yes,
So,
yes, Sharu.
hello. Hi.
Yes, Sharuji. Uh, so, friends, what a wonderful discussions it was. I was listening and really happy to hear my mom speaking and everybody sharing their views. And thank you, Sharuji, for your presence and really, really happy. And let us get into the part of knowing next of what happens to Mata Sita. So yesterday we have heard about Soma's arrival. So friends, be patient today as I'm going to read two chapters. They are very small chapters. It is very good to know about Mata Sita's marriage and her departure. So departure to Ayodhya. So yeah, I want you all to close your eyes while I'm reading this. Sita's marriage. Rajkumari Sita was not destined to rule Videha, although it is what we all hoped and prayed for. She spent many months traveling with Janak Baba throughout the kingdom as he set up local councils, identifying leaders and directing them on how to manage their local affairs. For many of the villagers, Rajkumari Sita's presence was an indication that she was one day to be the Maharaja's successor. Maharaja Janak perceived this expectation and knew that he had to squash it, lest it led to much disappointment. So the conversation of a Swayamvara took place again, and again Sunainama objected, pleading for more time. We are doing the kingdom an injustice by allowing the people to believe that one day she will govern here. When we know this to be untrue, Sunaina, Janak Baba told her in a firm voice. But then why have you given her this training, this knowledge, if not to govern? She will bring this knowledge wherever she goes. It is for the future and not just for Mithila. She sighed. I cannot image any man worthy of her. He has already made himself known to her, and I assure you he is worthy. Where is he? Who can this man be? Janak Baba shook his head, saying he didn't know, but he recounted what Sita had told him that day in the forest many months earlier. We should not stand in the way of their union. Let us organize the Swayamvara. I am sure he will appear and Sita will recognize him. There was nothing more Sunainama could say. Mata did not object when her father told her it was time to organize the Swayamvara. But one evening, as they were sitting together and Soma and I were serving them sweets, I heard Janak Baba mention that ever since he had announced the Swayamvara, her mood had changed. Will I know him? Mata asked in an uncertain voice. Will I recognize him? He did appear to you, Sita. You saw his form. She shook her head. I heard his voice. I felt his presence, but I did not see a form. He was quiet for a few minutes and then said, Sita, everything that has come to you, all the events of your life, seem to have been predetermined, as if you had orchestrated it before being born. I have no doubt that this will be the same. She smiled. You have a way of easing my every concern. I will put the matter out of my mind. The Swayamvara was still weeks away. All the Rajas in the Aryan region had been invited. Sita did indeed put the matter out of her mind by spending time in the villages and helping with the seeding of the fields. Janak Baba had taught all the farmers how to use a newly developed plough that made the readying of their fields for planting so much quicker and easier, despite the heavy labor it entailed. Sita now had the desire to learn the same. One day, just before the Swayambara, she took Soma and me to one of the nearby farms and indicated her desire to help them plow the field. There was great resistance. Allowing the Maharaja to performing this arduous task was one thing, but the Rani? That was quite another. But Mata insisted. Through an unexplained show of strength, she was able to proceed, seemingly without much effort. Several minutes later, she dropped the plow and fell on her knees, digging her hands deep into the soil. Soma and I ran to her, thinking she might be in need of help, but she had no such need. Look, Soma, she said. Look at Vasundharama, the gift she has given us. There is vital life in the soil that prevents illness, that keeps our bodies well, life that we cannot see or touch. As long as we keep our soil pure, diseases will stay away. This is the gift of Vasundharama. Her face was glowing as she lifted handfuls of dark, rich soil and rubbed it against her cheek and then kissed the very dirt that gives us life. How little do we think of where our food comes from, she murmured. How little do we appreciate this treasure she has given. Sita released the dirt and stood up. Looking off into the distance, she murmured, He is here. I feel his presence. She then went back to plowing. After she had completed her task, Sita thanked the farmer for allowing her to help and then inquired about the chariot that had stopped while she was in the field. It was the two Rajas, kings or princes from Ayodhya, he replied. They had stopped to request water for their horses. Ayodhya? Sita murmured to herself. She seemed lost in thought. Yes, one of the Rajas noticed you in the field and asked about the woman plowing the soil. He said that he had never seen a plow like that or imagined a woman could use such an instrument. What did you tell him? I told him it was Rajkumari Sita. He seemed very surprised, but he smiled and said he was eager to meet the woman who could accomplish such a feat. Clearly, he doesn't know our Rani, said the farmer affectionately. A flutter moved through Mata's body when she heard his words. She turned to Soma, and I could see the look that passed between them. I wondered if the Raja from Ayodhya was the one for whom she was waiting. During the evening meal, Sunaina teased Mata about her use of the plow. How is it possible that our daughter could use such an instrument when the farmers themselves struggle? With a gleam in his eye, Janak Baba turned to Mata and said, Tell her, dear, how you accomplished such a feat. It is a matter of the mind, Ma. I don't have the needed strength in my body, but my mind overcame that weakness. It instructed my body what to do, and my body merely followed. It is a training of Pitaji which has given me. Sunainama shook her head. I am sure the whole kingdom will be speaking of it. And the Rajas from Ayodhya inserted Urmila, who had heard the story of their arrival as it had clearly circulated through the household. They have come, asked Sunainama in surprise. Didn't we receive a response from Maharaja Dasharatha that they were away at the hermitage of Rishi Vishwamitra? It seems they have come for another purpose to view Mahadev's bow, but no doubt they will participate in the Swayamvara. He gazed at Sita as he spoke, aware of the quiver that was passing through her. Mata looked away as not to betray her feelings. Suddenly, it dawned on Sunainama that the Rajas had seen Sita plowing in the field. A look of dismay crossed her face. They have seen you plowing, Sita. What will they think? Mata didn't respond. They will think what an amazing daughter we have, Janak Baba was quick to reply. Whoever wins Sita's hand will have to know who she is and will have to respect her knowledge. As far as I am concerned, that is the only requirement. Then why have we set the test to be lifting of Mahadev's bow? Ma, it is not strength that is needed to lift the bow, said Sita. I did it as a child. That bow can only be raised by the one Mahadev allows to lift it. It is his will that will prevail. That is the reason for this requirement. Janak Baba smiled. He had never told this to Sita, but he was pleased that she knew it. It was not strength alone that would determine who her husband would be. It was Mahadev's will, and as he was increasingly coming to understand, Sita's will as well. It was at the temple that they first met. Mata was performing Aarti, which is ritual of light, before the Murti, which is statue of Parvati Ma. He had heard of the temple's beauty and was drawn by the otherworldly singing that drifted over the hills and through the trees of Mithila. It rose to his senses like a celestial song. Mata was dressed in her best finery, as was always the case when she went to the temple. Two servants, Usha and Rohana, carried the fruits and flowers for the puja. Soma was with them. They did not notice his approach, but they did notice Mata's voice grow softer and softer as she completed the arti. When she had finished, she turned and saw him standing but a few feet from her. The servants also became aware of the presence of the two Rajas from Ayodhya. Mata froze, and for several minutes they didn't know whether our Mata was in our world or another. The one who appeared to be the elder of the Rajas also seemed to freeze. Nobody spoke, nobody moved. It was the younger Raja who broke the silence, introducing himself as Lakshman and his brother Ram. Urmila responded by introducing herself and Sita. Still, there was silence between the elder prince of Ayodhya and Mata, although they continued to gaze at one another as if in a stupor. No one knew what was taking place between them. So you are Rajkumari Sita, Sri Ram finally said. I saw you the other day in the field. From a distance, I could see you lift the soil to your checks so tenderly, with the love of a mother embracing her child. Yes, that was me. We teach the people of Videha to love and honor Vasundarama, she replied softly. She is the source of our strength. I would like to learn your ways, so I can bring this knowledge back to Ayodhya and all of the Kosala kingdom. And we are happy to share with you our knowledge, came a booming voice from the back of the temple. I am happy to receive you, sons of Maharaja Dasharatha. Janak Baba was overjoyed to meet them. After receiving them warmly, he said, Ram, your fame precedes you. All of Mithila has heard of your deeds. It is a great honor to have you here in our kingdom, and I would be happy to share with you our methods of farming. That night, as Rohana, Usha, Soma, and I were serving the evening meal, Sunainama stopped us and asked with a discreet smile, I am told you all saw the Rajas from Ayodhya at the temple today. I was not so fortunate to be there. Tell me, how did they look? How did they appear? Sita will tell me nothing. She is silent when I ask about them, as is the Maharaja. All eyes turned to Sita, but she kept eating as if the conversation did not concern her. Rohana was the first to respond. Maharani, never have I seen such strength in a man, the older Raja. His arms, his chest, such perfection, she gasped. And such beauty, replied Usha. I did catch a glimpse of his face and saw such perfectly formed features, so well proportioned. Sunainama pressed her, asking for some description, but she was speechless and could say more. And you, Minakshi? Sunainama asked. I'm sorry to say I was not there. Turning to Soma, she asked eagerly, how did he appear? What did you see about him? Soma didn't answer, and so the Maharani prodded her. Share with us, Soma. It seems they are all referring to the elder Raja Ram. How did he appear to you? Maharani, please excuse me, but I don't know how to answer your question. What do you mean? She asked. You were there. Maharani, I was blinded by the light coming from his form. The light was so strong, I had to turn my eyes away. Mata had put aside her food and was listening the whole time to this exchange. Suddenly, she interjected with a smile. Soma sees what I see, but Soma, you must learn to look steadily into the light. If you had, you would have seen his celestial form as I did. Never look away from the light. I did turn away, but then when I looked at him again, I did see his form, his human form, Mata. Turning to Sunainama, she continued, I don't really know how to describe him. Rohana is right about his strength. He's not as tall as our Maharaja, but his chest is broader and every muscle seems defined. And Usha is right about his beauty. The features of his face are quite fine, with a slender, straight nose and full lips. His complexion is like Mata's, but slightly more golden. His hair falls to his shoulders and is not quite as dark as Mata's, but he keeps it loose so that it frames his face. There is a dignity about him, in the way he carries himself. I was close enough for a moment to catch a glimpse of his eyes, and I have no words to describe them, just as I cannot describe our Mata's eyes. Sita laughed at her words and then commented, you describe only his outer form, Soma. Soma was quiet for a few minutes and then added, he seems so approachable, not at all distant and formal like so many of the Rajas, but very personable, almost modest. So he seemed to me, but it is impossible to truly describe. Her voice trailed off. Sita turned to her mother and said with a smile, everyone will see him definitely, differently, Ma. You will have to wait and see how he appears to you. As they were discussing thus, I recalled an earlier conversation that had taken place before the arrival of the Rajas from Ayodhya, when one night over the evening meal, Sunaina Ma had spoken of Sri Ram's achievements, his bravery and courage that enabled him to slay the demoness Taraka. A frown had crossed Sita's face. Seeing her troubled look, Janak Baba had turned to Sita and asked, why this dismay, Sita? I wonder if such violence is necessary and the slaying of a woman, is that not against the laws of nature? All eyes had turned to Mata in surprise. In a grave tone, Janak Baba responded, I would never question any deed performed by Ram. What he did was for the benefit of the whole region. Mata had not pressed the point, but it was clear that she was not satisfied with his response. Janak Baba had then quickly turned the conversation to Ram's freeing of Lady Ahalya from the curse that had been imposed upon her by her husband, Gautama Maharshi. The story commonly told was that the beautiful Ahalya had been tricked and seduced by Indra, the king of the gods. Gautama was angered when he discovered this betrayal and cursed the innocent Ahalya to become like stone. No sage in all of Vidya has had the courage to go near her, yet alone attempt to free her. And who would even have the power to reverse a curse? He asked, gazing at Sita. And yet Ram approached her as he would his own mother and freed her from her agony. Is there any compassion greater than that? Sita had been visibly moved. That was a great deed. She was unjustly cursed through no cause of her own. The story, as it is told, is not what truly happened. But the important thing is that Ram freed her. How rare for someone to undo a curse. Even our rishis cannot accomplish this. Again, we see how these curses of the sages affect the innocents. That someone so pure and wise as Sage Ahalya, who is a rishi in her own right, would be so afflicted, causes me much pain. Someday, perhaps someone will be able to rectify this, Sita. Increasingly, we see that the sages are abusing their power, and perhaps it is time for it now to be withdrawn, Janak Baba had then said. As I recalled this conversation, I wondered if Mata's concern over killing of Taraka would influence her feelings for the Raja from Ayodhya. But fortunately, it was not to be so. The bow of Mahadev had rested in the palace temple for many, many generations. As the palace was restructured, rebuilt, and expanded over the years, the bow remained where it had been placed so many generations earlier. It was part of the history of our kingdom. Everyone in the kingdom knew that the bow had been given to the ancestor of Janak Baba by Parashurama himself when his work in the world was completed. This was the very bow that Mahadev had given to Parashurama, the sixth avatar, which is incarnation of Vishnu, to perform his duty of ridding the earth of the violent Kshatriyas, the warriors who had overstepped their bounds and spread conflict everywhere. Parashurama gave the bow to the kingdom of Videha because he said it was the only kingdom where the bow's power would never be abused and never used for warfare, only for worship. He had foreseen then that ours would be a kingdom that lived by the rule of dharma, not by armed force. We would not expand, would not grow powerful, would not conquer our neighbors, and would not invest in armies and weaponry. We would treasure above all else the wisdom of the rishis and be ruled by the wise leaders. Janak Baba had received word during meditation that the lifting and stringing of the bow should be the requirement for Sita's suitors. He knew then that some transition was in store. Whoever lifted that bow would take with him not only the jewel of Mithila, Rajkumari Sita, but also the protection and power of the bow. This would begin the decline of Videha, but he did not mourn. In the movement of time, kingdoms come and kingdoms go. Videha had contributed much and would continue to do so. But it was not in the destiny of his kingdom to lay the foundation for future civilization. This realization came to him and he accepted it without the slightest concern or care. The time for the Swayamvara was upon us. Rajas and Maharajas from the entire Arya region came to participate. We were so busy with preparations that there was hardly any time to be with Mata, except to attend briefly to her personal needs. None of us in the household were surprised by the outcome of the Swayamvara. From the day when we first heard of Mata's meeting with Sri Ram in the temple, we all suspected that he was destined to be her husband. But still, we had to go through the suspense of the competition. Mata was calm and composed throughout the course of events. I am told that even when other Rajas came close to lifting the bow, she did not display any concern. When Sri Ram lifted and then broke the bow, the family breathed a sigh of relief. But Sri Ram announced that he would come the next day to make sure that Rajkumari Sita accepted the results. She would have a day to reflect and decide her future. Until then, no announcement was made. The next morning, Sri Ram arrived at the palace with his brother and spent time privately with Mata, Janak Baba, and Sunainama. We never heard what was spoken, only that Mata had accepted Sri Ram as her husband. Word usually traveled very quickly through the palace, and there was hardly anything that we all did not soon come to know. One servant spoke to another, and that one spoke to another. And this is how we heard so many of the stories of our beloved Janak Baba and Mata. But on this occasion, no word leaked out. Several days later, after one of the evening meals, a servant who had been serving the food called the kitchen staff together and recounted what he had heard during the meal. Janak Baba had remarked how fortunate it was that Sri Ram and Lakshman had arrived in Mithila just in the time for the Swayamvara. Sri Ram smiled and said it was no accident. When Janak Baba asked him to explain, Ram was quiet for a few minutes, but then replied that the battle with Taraka had been very difficult, the more so because she was a woman and it pained him to have to take the life of a woman, even though she had killed so many of the Hermitage students. That night, after the battle, when he lay down to rest, overcome with dismay, Ram felt a great presence come over him. It brought a sense of peace and love, healing him of the pain he felt from the battle. It was an overarching presence, and he drifted to sleep in the comfort of its arms. But by morning it was gone, and he wondered if he had imagined it. As he approached Mithila, he felt the presence again. When they stopped to get water for their horses, and he saw Rajkumari Sita in the fields, he knew who it was that had come to comfort him in his distress. Sri Ram then turned to face Mata and told her that when he saw her kissing the soil, he took that as a sign that she had forgiven him for killing the woman demon. The servant continued his narration. Mata listened quietly as he spoke. When he had finished, she replied, I have realized that sometimes a demon takes a woman form so that so the warrior will refrain from doing what needs to be done. But you were not deceived. When I first heard the news of her death, I also felt sorry over the deed. But then I realized she was a woman only in an outer appearance. The test was to see beyond her outer form to the demonic nature that was inhabiting that body, which is neither male nor female. It was Vasundhara Ma who told me this that day in the field, and that is why I kissed the soil, in gratitude for helping me to understand this. She had made me aware of a deeper truth. Sri Ram seemed touched by her words, but then he added in a serious tone, the death of Tarakai is not the end. I'm afraid many more battles lie ahead, difficult battles. The servant stopped his narrative. Go on, urged Usha. What else did he say? What did he mean? And how did Mata respond? I couldn't hear any more, he replied. That is all I heard. Oh dear, I exclaimed. I hope for them a peaceful future, full of joy and happiness, not fighting demons. None of us should worry, interjected Soma. Whatever Raja Ram will do will be for the protection and benefit of us all. I have no doubt that he will succeed in all of his endeavors. After all, he is the one chosen by our Mata. Now came the wedding preparations, the reception of a guest from Ayodhya, and the ceremonies themselves. It was an exhilarating time, but also one of sadness for me as I realized that the time of Mata's departure was approaching. I could not imagine what life would be without her. Janak Baba would retreat more and more into solitude. Sunainama would assume more responsibilities for governing, and we servants would be left without the one who had lit up the palace and brought us such joy. I was just coming to accept this reality when a new window of hope and possibility opened. The next chapter is Departure from Mithila. After the wedding, Janak Baba fulfilled his promise, and he and Mata took Sri Ram to the fields to experience firsthand the beauty of the soil. Janak Baba taught him to use the plough, and Mata taught him about the living qualities of the soil and the bounty of the earth. Janak Baba told Sri Ram about the local councils being set up, and he was eager to see them. So they also visited the nearby villages to witness the progress of these councils. Sri Ram took it all in, engaging in long conversations with Janak Baba about the nature of governance. Mata told us that Sri Ram said he learned more about governing from Janak Baba in those few weeks in Mithila than he had in all his years in Ayodhya. He had learnt about warfare and the Vedas from rishis Vashishta and Vishwamitra, but he had not yet had the opportunity to learn the subtleties of governance, and he was glad to learn this from the Janak Baba. Janak Baba seemed intent on passing on to Sri Ram some of his visions and premonitions for the future. He had seen that the power of Videha would decline and the power of Kosala kingdom increase. The reach of the Raghu clan had grown immensely under the reign of Maharaja Dasharatha. The capital, Ayodhya, was now an imperial center, extending its influence in all directions. The kingdom of Videha was no match for Kosala except in one regard. It was the seat of knowledge. The coming together of these two kingdoms, the marriage of power and knowledge, would ensure a bright future for the Aryan region. If it could spread its high level of culture and civilization far and wide, the progress of the human species would aid all creation. Janak Baba knew Earth was in a declining cycle and much spiritual knowledge would be lost while material development advanced. It was this to which he wanted to dedicate his last years, helping preserve the knowledge through the dark ages to come. It was almost as if Janak Baba had willed this marriage, knowing the benefit it would bring all humankind. He had trained his Sita well, fulfilling the great responsibility that had been entrusted to him. He had exposed her to so many of the rishis and sages in the Aryan region, and she had imbibed their wisdom. He knew that Sri Ram would value this, as well as her care for all creatures, large and small, no matter their position in the scheme of things. The last of his great responsibilities was coming to an end, and Janak Baba greeted this time of closure with neither joy nor sadness. His withdrawal had begun. One evening, after returning to the kitchen, Soma shared with us some of Janak Baba's teaching to Ram that she had overheard while serving the evening meal. We all noticed her silence as she entered the kitchen and began her chores. Normally, she was quite vocal, requesting this or that servant to do a particular chore. But this evening, she seemed not to hear us as she began washing up and organizing the kitchen area. I asked her a question, but instead of responding, she stared off into the distance as if she didn't hear me. Finally, one of the servants asked what was wrong. Wrong? Nothing at all. She fell silent. You overheard a conversation while serving the evening meal, didn't you? Kiran asked quietly. She nodded. He said, Rohana also overheard something, but she couldn't understand what was being said. It seemed to be a subject of great importance. It was not for our ears, Soma replied quietly. Perhaps it is for our ears, and that is why Janak Baba allowed you to overhear it. You know, there is a reason behind everything that happens in this household. It was hard for Soma to resist Kiran. Whenever he spoke, he made so much sense, and she was so fond of him. As Soma began to speak, the servants in the kitchen gathered around. I will repeat to you what I heard. Perhaps you can make sense of it, Kiran. In the middle of the meal, as I was bringing in the last dishes, Janak Baba suddenly stopped eating and began to speak directly to Sri Ram. Ram, a king is a servant of his people, he said. When a king grows distant from them, he can no longer serve. All of the families in Videha are known to me. I know those sorrows and seek to alleviate them. Sri Ram listened intently to Janak Baba, who continued, even in an expanding kingdom, it is possible. An expanded mind can know a population no matter how large it is. Does not Mahadev take note of each of our thoughts and desires? So it must be for a king in regards to those under his care. That is a responsibility given to us. That is why I regularly visit the villages. Sita often accompanies me as she can read the hearts of the people better than I. She knows the needs of each family. Self governance, Ram, is what we must aim for. That is the future, but the minds of rulers are increasingly clouded by self interest, not the interest of their people. I see that this is becoming the reality in many parts of the Aryan region. The only way to counter this is through self governance. Ram looked surprised and asked, can people govern their villages if they cannot govern their own minds? Janak Baba smiled and replied, that is the role of our rishis to teach them how to govern their minds so that they will then be able to govern their communities. We must plant the seeds, although it will take a long time to bear fruit. There is resistance. The villagers have not been eager for these village councils, as they would prefer to be governed than to govern. They would rather follow than lead, but that will not help in their mental development. My work is coming to an end, and yours is beginning. When Sita departs from here, I will withdraw more and more into the inner realms. You must plant an understanding of Dharma in the human mind so that people themselves can resist the darkness that continually seeks to unseat the light. The time is coming when people will not be able to depend on their rulers to guide the way. Each one will need to take responsibility. That is the future, Ram, self governance. And it must begin with you, for you will set the foundation for the millennia to come. I have tried to I have tried to plant such seeds among our people, but Mithila is small and Ayodhya will become vast. This is the role for you and Sita together. I understand now that this is why she took birth in Mithila, to bring to Ayodhya the knowledge that we have tried to awaken in the human mind. Soma paused in her narrative for a moment. I was frozen in my place as I listened to these words of our wise and all knowing Janak Baba. I saw that Ram and Sita were deep in thought. I then remembered my duties and quickly began clearing the food and video. I don't know whether the conversation continued or if that was the end. One of the servants looked at Kiran and asked, what did Janak Baba mean by all of this? What is the need for self governance when we have such a wise Maharaja? I don't know, replied Kiran thoughtfully. Not every kingdom is as fortunate as we are to have such a Maharaja. I suppose he was seeing well into the future. Janak Baba's sight is not limited to only our kingdom or our time. His vision is far grander. We all sat in silence for a few minutes, reflecting on these words, and then we gradually went back to our work of getting the kitchen ready for the morning meal. Years later, Soma was to remind me of this conversation. The dreaded departure of Mata was only days away. Soma saw my despondency and said to me one evening, trust Mata Meenakshi. She will know what is best and will act accordingly. We must have perfect faith in her. I do have faith in her. She shook her head. Then why this despair? Would she allow any separation? I looked at her confused. What was she thinking? She knew perfectly well that Mata was leaving in a few days, and it would be a long time, if ever, before we saw her again. The next morning, Mata called Soma, Usha, Rohana, and me to accompany her to the forest. I knew it would be our last time alone with her. As we entered the forest, we could not hide our sadness, all of us except Soma, who continued to look as joyous as she always did. Mata too was in an exalted mood. As we entered deeper into the forest, Mata stopped at all of her favorite places, touching the trees and wild plants, petting whichever animal approached. She sighed. I will miss every part of this forest and all of her creatures, but new forests await me and new creatures to meet. None of us spoke. Mata led us to the place and to sit and then said, I have asked you to join me on this walk because I have a request to make of each one of you. We looked at one another. What could Mata possibly ask for? Perhaps it was to look after Sunainama. Her sister Urmila was also going to Ayodhya, as she had married Ram's brother Lakshman. So it couldn't be about her. Surely it was about Sunainama, to comfort her after the loss of her two daughters. What is it, Mata? Asked Soma. I will need to keep a part of Mithila with me when I leave for Ayodhya to keep the customs and traditions that I have grown up with. And so I have asked Ram if Urmila and I could be accompanied by the four of you who have cared for us for so long. He has agreed, as have Pitaji and Ma. But I need your permission. Will you accompany me? Ayodhya will be very different from Mithila. Very different, I am afraid. You will find yourself in a strange land, away from all you know and love. So think carefully before answering. It is not necessary for you to come. You can stay here and care for the family. Then turning to me, she said, You have long cared for you have long cared for Ma. If you hesitate to leave her, please tell me. I was tongue tied and so didn't respond. It was Soma who replied immediately in a firm voice, Mata, where you are, I am. There is no question about staying. Mata smiled. Usha and Rohana also nodded in agreement. We are honored that you have chosen us, replied Usha, who was very attached to Urmila, and we will try to live up to your expectations of representing Mithila. At those words, I burst into tears. For several minutes, I could not speak. Finally, I replied, Mata, I was so afraid you would leave me here, that you would ask me, an old and unfortunate servant. I almost said cursed, but stopped, realizing that Usha and Rohana did not know about the curse. Mata placed her hand on mine and replied quietly, Minakshi, you are neither old nor unfortunate. You more than anyone represent the spirit of Mithila. You are of this land, of this earth, as I am. Then she turned to Rohana, who had tears in her eyes. She had a sister and nieces and nephews she would be leaving behind, perhaps never to see again. Are you sure, Rohana? Gazing at Mata, she nodded and replied in a steady voice, Mata, I will come. There is nothing more dear to me than serving you. Then it is settled. You must prepare yourself because we leave in 2 days. She rose and looked around the forest and said, This forest has been my world. I have grown up here, learning all I know. It has taught me everything, and I am so very grateful. Placing her hand on her heart, she slowly looked all around and whispered, I leave with you, my love. May you always be protected. I will take the knowledge you have given me to many parts of the world. With those words, she turned to leave, and we followed back to the palace. As we entered, she turned to me and said, Make sure you say a proper goodbye to Kiran. I nodded, but as soon as I got back to my room, her words slipped from my mind. There was so much to do to get Mata ready. It was the morning we were leaving when her words returned to me, and so I hurried off to look for him. I found him tending to one of the horses, whose foot had been injured. I stood a short distance away watching him as he tenderly cared for the animal, speaking to the horse all the while. He suddenly became aware of me and turned to face me. Minakshi, is it time? Are you leaving already? I nodded, shifting from one foot to another. I didn't understand why I suddenly felt so uncomfortable. Perhaps it was because I had never been in the position to say goodbye to a friend, knowing that we might not meet again. He stared at me with sadness in his eyes. This place won't be the same without Mata, he said. I know how you must feel, I hurried to say. Mata is the life of the palace, but Janak Baba and Sunaina Ma will still be here. And as Mata said, she will never leave Mithila. It will always be in her heart. I probably will not see you again, he said quietly. I don't know, Kiran, what the future holds, but do take good care of all the animals. I know you will. That will make Mata happy. With a slight wave of my hand, I hurried away, not sure why this brief exchange gave me such an uneasy feeling. I didn't have time to give this conversation much thought as my mind was ruminating over all that I was leaving behind. I returned to my small room for one last goodbye. Memories of my father flooded my mind, my childhood with him, his severity with me, my lack of understanding. I was sad to leave behind the places I had known with him, and the other servants with whom I had grown up had become my family. I loved Mithila, everything about it. Then I thought that Mata must be experiencing the same. She would be leaving Sunanama and Janak Papa. As I was reflecting thus, I heard a voice. It was Soma standing at the door. You can never leave Mithila, Meenakshi. Mithila is in you, as it is in me, Mata, and all of us. Mithila will always be with us, wherever we are. Be assured of that. Is it time? I asked. She nodded. Everyone had gathered in the courtyard by the departure gate. Gathering my few belongings, I looked around the room and said goodbye for the last time. Many of the goodbyes had already been said. Soma and I joined Rohana and Usha with the others who would be part of the retinue leaving for Ayodhya. Sri Ram was by his chariot with his brother. We waited now for only Sita and Urmila to emerge with Janak Baba and Sunaina Ma. Some time passed and we waited. Finally, they emerged. It was a tearful parting. Sunaina Ma had the hardest time. She took off a bracelet from her wrist and put it around Urmila's wrist and said, This bracelet will always protect you. Then she took off an amulet that she wore around her neck and placed it around Sita's neck, saying, My mother gave this to me when I left home for a married life. It was her most precious possession. Wherever you go, keep this with you, she said between tears. Janak Baba drew his daughters into his arms and silently embraced them, then gave them each a parting blessing. To Sita he said, Remember always who you are and why you have come. You have gained what you need from Mithila. Now you must share it with the world. She nodded. Pitaji, she uttered, but he placed his fingers on her lips. No words, I know what is in your heart. Then he came to Sri Ram and stood silently before him. I have grown to love Mithila, said Sri Ram with great affection and also a touch of sadness. I have learned much from you and would have been glad to spend all my days here. Janak Baba smiled and replied, I have given you my knowledge, Ram. Use it for the benefit of the world. Then spontaneously he took the hands of Sita and Ram in his own and said, You are now one. The love you will manifest will be the foundation for the future and will sustain this world for millennia to come. I have no doubt about that. Unexpectedly, he next came to us, the four servants who were accompanying Sita and Urmila. Do you think I would let you leave without a blessing? He asked as he drew us to him. You are also are my daughters. Take good care of Sita and Urmila as you always have, and take good care of yourself. As he released us, he turned to me and said quietly, in such a loving way, You have given your father every reason to be pleased. You have exceeded his expectations, and I have no doubt that he is aware of this. Through your devotion, you have brought him great honor. Those words meant more to me than anything he could have said to me. At that moment, I realized what it would mean to leave Janak Baba. He had been our protector, our sustainer, the one who turned to in every matter. He was my link to my father and my past. I was now leaving behind that link and heading into the unknown, with only my love and faith in Mata to guide me. What lay ahead, I don't know. But as I turned to look at Mata and felt the joy flowing from her, I knew this was not a choice I was making. Like her, I was destined to leave behind my beloved Mithila and begin a new life in Ayodhya. So that's all for today, friends. I hope you all enjoyed. And if there is anyone who wish to share anything, please go ahead and share. Tomorrow we will be knowing about adjusting to Ayodhya. So
Wonderful, Madhu. They covered each and every minute details about how everyone speaks, how she lives, what is each and every dialogue. It's so nice to hear from you.
yes, it is. It is really, really nice how they became one, because
Yeah,
we don't know, like we only know the in Ramayana it was only said about Lord Shiva's bow and
yeah,
everything, but we didn't know like what happened before that Mata Sita and Sri Ram, they have already seen each other before
yeah.
this test. So it's really wonderful. It makes sense when we
Yeah.
read this, when we feel this, it makes really a sense.
But still, when you reading, I'm able to connect to the Ramayan. I'm thinking that Rama comes, and we have seen from childhood all those like in TVs and movies, right? I'm still imagining Sita and Rama.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mina. Anybody else, friends? Yes, thank you, Kavita, and thank you, Balaji. So anybody else would like to share? So, all right. So tomorrow morning, we don't have any session as it is Sunday. So tomorrow evening we will meet again at 6 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. India time, 6 p.m. Germany time. Yes, Kavita, you want to say something?
Oh, I wanted to ask the next session would be Monday, right? For Untold Story
No, no,
again.
no. Tomorrow. Tomorrow we are having. So we don't want to give a break.
Okay.
So we will be
Same
doing,
time, Madhu?
yeah, same time. Same
Okay.
time.
Cool. Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Thank you,
So
Madhu.
tomorrow as well, be prepared, friends. I'll be reading 2 chapters since both the chapters are small. So I'll be covering 2 chapters tomorrow as well.
Awesome. Thank you so
Right.
much, Madhu. Yep.
Thank you.
Looking
Thank you,
forward
Kavita.
already.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, Uday?
Yeah, hello, Akka.
Yes, yes, Uday.
It was so emotional. I'm crying now. Like the how in those period like in the Treta Yuga also,
Mm,
how they send a girl, and how mother and father while sending a girl to mother-in-law's home, how they will tell her, how the emotion they carry. God,
mm.
it really speechless, Akka.
Yes, yes. I was also holding my tears because
Yeah.
if I cry, I could not see, I couldn't be able to see the words. That's why I'm just, being strong.
uh,
When I read the book for the first time, I couldn't stop tears. The tears were coming, coming, coming. I took time to finish it because I didn't go very fast because I need to really take it in. So yeah, but reading it once again to all of you, it's so good I'm experiencing.
yeah, Akka, really. And how Janak Baba
Mm,
he took care of Lord Sri Rama as his own son, and he explaining him everything, not telling him how to take care of Sita, but
Mm.
he implemented knowledge. He implemented his knowledge, what he knows, and he implemented his knowledge, and he said to Lord Sri Rama to take care of and to implement this knowledge into in Ayodhya.
Yes,
There
exactly.
is a lot we can learn from these instances, Akka. Really,
Yes, yes. Very
in
true
mind
there.
blowing.
Very good.
Yeah,
Great,
thank you,
great.
Akka.
Thank you, Ma. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody
and
else, friends? All right. So we all see each other tomorrow at 6 p.m. Germany time and 9:30 p.m. India time. Till then, have a lovely night, a lovely day, and a lovely evening. Namaste to all. Bye, Archana.